In this presentation, we will see how to use open automation software to connect to an OPC UA server. We'll follow along with the knowledge base guide under Support, Knowledge Base. And if you scroll down under the connector section, you will see an OPC UA server selection. To demonstrate this functionality, I'm going to use an OPC server provided by Unified Automation. I will use the UA Net server. The first thing we'll need to do is to configure the driver to define the endpoint of the OPC server that we want to connect to. I'll just give this driver interface a unique name, set the driver type to OPC UA, specify the server URL, that's the endpoint for the OPC server, and then we'll select Browse next to the security profile to select one of the security profiles that the OPC UA server is providing. Optionally, we may specify user security where we can put in a username and password to connect to the OPC server. There are several other properties that you can adjust to maintain the connection to the OPC UA server, even to enable a failover connection to a secondary OPC UA server if the connection to the original server is lost. Select Add Driver. Now we're ready to configure tags to connect to the OPC UA server nodes. Within the tags, we can add a group. We'll give it a unique name. Within that group, we're ready to add a tag. Let's just call this one A. Then we can specify the data source to OPC UA. And if you have multiple driver interfaces defined to OPC UA, you would need to select which driver interface you want to use. Then select Browse next to the node ID and choose the node ID that you would like to connect to within the OPC UA server. I will look in the Dynamics section under Scalar, and let's look at the double value. Click Apply Changes. We'll see the data quality goes from bad to good, and there we see the current value coming from the OPC UA server. If you want to change the publishing rate, you can scroll down to the publishing interval and adjust that to 0.1 seconds. We can now see the value is publishing from the OPC server at a much faster rate than the default of 1 second. If you would like to add multiple node IDs from the OPC UA server all at once, one feature you can use is the one-click import feature. First, click on One-Click Import, and then import OPC UA items. We can add the items while they're in runtime. If you're adding more than 10,000 node IDs at a time, you may want to stop runtime first so it can be more efficient. We'll browse for a point within the OPC server where we want to obtain all the node IDs underneath that folder, then click Add Tags. There we see 24 new items added to the list of tags. We can also see that occasionally we're getting a data quality change from bad to good on about 2 of the items. We can scroll down to see which items are showing bad quality, or we can use the Watch feature. Right-click on the group and select Add to Watch. Here we have those 24 tags in a list, and if we scroll to the right, we see a quality column. We can sort by quality to bring the bad quality tags to the top of the list. These tags simulate bad quality from the OPC server. We're now ready to save the configuration. Click Save and enter a new name. If this is the first time you've saved a configuration, you'll be prompted to make it the default tag configuration file to load when the system restarts. Note that the driver configuration and tag configuration are saved in the same file. Everything that you can do in the Configure application can also be done programmatically using our free .NET assemblies or the REST API. You can find more information about those in our knowledge base under the Programmatic Interfaces section. There you will find details on the OAS configuration, where you can set and get tag properties as well as manage driver interfaces. Under the REST API section, you'll find complete documentation that you can prototype with Postman. If we scroll down the OPC UA Server Connection Guide, one of the troubleshooting suggestions is about rejected certificates. If you're having problems connecting to an OPC server, the certificate may have been rejected. You would see that in the Configure application under System Errors. If an untrusted certificate is being rejected, the way to resolve it is to go into Program Data /Open Automation Software /PKI on Windows. On Linux, it would be in the config files subdirectory under PKI. The PKI server is where the certificates will be for the OAS OPC UA server. If you are connecting to another OPC UA server, go into the PKI folder. Under Rejected, in the Search subfolder, you may see a certificate. If you recognize it as the server certificate that you want to accept, move it into the Trusted Search folder. Here you can see I've already trusted this UA Server Net OPC UA server from Unified Automation. There are also some nice troubleshooting features built into the OAS engine. If we go to Configure Options and look under System Logging, we can enable transaction logging for OPC UA communications. The property is called Log OPC UA Communications. Further down, you can specify where to save those transaction log files by editing the transaction log path. Click Apply Changes. To enable full OPC UA transaction logging, restart the OAS engine. This can be done with the OAS Services Control Manager or as a Windows service. Make sure to save your configuration files before restarting the OAS engine. If you would like to try Open Automation software for 30 days, you can click the download link on our website.